Welcome. In this session, we will explore the foundation of health and safety law in the United Kingdom, focusing on the single most important piece of legislation, the Health and Safety at Work, etc. Act 1974. This act remains the primary legal framework for workplace health and safety across Great Britain. It applies universally across industries and environments, forming the backbone of all modern safety regulations. Understanding this law is not optional. It is essential for employers, employees, the self-employed, and anyone affected by work activities. The Act was introduced to ensure a simple but powerful outcome: to protect people. It establishes a general duty of care, rather than listing every possible hazard. This is deliberate because workplaces change, technology evolves, and risks develop. Therefore, the law provides a flexible framework that applies to offices, warehouses, construction sites, hospitals, and even public spaces affected by work activities. The Health and Safety Executive confirms that this Act is the central piece of legislation governing occupational safety in Great Britain. The Act applies broadly. Let us examine who is covered. First, employers. They carry the primary responsibility to ensure that work activities do not harm employees or other people. Second, employees. They must take reasonable care of their own safety, avoid putting others at risk, and follow all provided instructions and training. Third, self-employed persons. They are equally accountable for ensuring their work does not endanger themselves or others around them during their daily tasks. Finally, contractors, visitors, and the public. The law extends beyond the workplace itself to protect everyone affected by work activities, wherever they are. At the heart of the Act is one of the most important legal phrases in UK safety law: so far as is reasonably practicable. For example, Section 2 states, employers must ensure the health, safety, and welfare of employees so far as is reasonably practicable. What does this mean? It does not mean eliminating all risk. That would be impossible. Instead, it requires a balanced and sensible approach to assessing and controlling risks. According to the HSE, it means assessing the level of risk and comparing it against the effort needed, including time, cost, and practicality. In simple terms, you must reduce risk as far as is realistically achievable without disproportionate effort. Let's look at a practical warehouse example. A wet floor presents a high risk of slips. The solution, cleaning and signage, is simple and low cost. Therefore, action is clearly required under the law. However, replacing an entire building structure for a very low-risk hazard at extreme cost may not be considered reasonably practicable. The law expects proportionate action, evidence-based decisions, and continuous risk assessment. It is not about doing everything possible, but everything reasonably necessary. This principle underpins the entire UK safety system. It allows flexibility across all industries, ensuring high risks are addressed immediately while resources are used effectively. Without this principle, health and safety law would be either too rigid to apply or too vague to enforce. It forms the basis for all policies. To summarize, the Health and Safety at Work, etc. Act 1974 is the foundation of all workplace safety in the United Kingdom. It applies to employers, employees, the self-employed, contractors, and the public. At its core lies the guiding principle: so far as is reasonably practicable. Health and safety is not just a legal requirement. It is a responsibility to protect lives through practical, reasonable, and informed action.